Hello class, my name is Sadie and this is my presentation on Unit 1. For Section 1, create a new project and explore the canvas. So in this section, I learned how to create projects and what type of templates that I can use, where to save my files, and how to name them properly so I can pull them up when doing coding. I was also able to adjust the text on this, as well as just getting familiar with the settings themselves. Section 2, customize the text view. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I don't know how the screenshot that I took was not the one of the finished product, but in starting with this section, I learned that you can change how you view your canvas mode, as well as being able to do the Swift UI inspector and being able to change different types of text settings doing that inspector. Another thing that I learned while doing this is how that when you're using the inspector, it can change the code for you without you having to go in and remove the code after making changes. Section 3, combine views using stacks. So in this section, I learned things like embedded in VStack and being able to drag text boxes into those VStacks, and then being able to customize settings like subheadlines and being able to change the font or the styling. Another thing that I learned was being able to figure out the layout of the device and change things like padding to give more room. Section 4, create a custom image view. I think this is probably my favorite section because I really like being able to do things that fall along the lines of like CSS and styling, and being able to change objects into the way that I would want them to be as far as like layout and size. So in this section, I learned about being able to use different resources while using Xcode, like dragging images into the resource file and being able to have them there. Another thing that I got to work with more was creating a new template, or I shouldn't say template, but creating a new file and which ones to use, whether that's, the Swift file or Swift UI view. Another thing that I learned was when doing the image, I can use the title and name of that file, the image, to pull into the code, and being able to change the image shape using the circle function, and being able to add a shadow to it, as well as being able to change the colors of the border themselves, which was pretty cool to do. I did struggle a little bit with making sure that I was using the correct spelling and dots, and making sure like along these things that I wasn't missing any of the commas. So that's definitely one thing I'm gonna have to make sure I look for in the future, because I did have trouble pulling files if I had a miscorrect spelling on one of the words. Section 5, use Swift UI views from other frameworks. So as I talked about in the last slide, this was something that I struggled a little bit with this entire chapter, was if I was rushing and didn't spell something correctly, the program Xcode didn't always catch it, and sometimes it would catch it eventually, like if I tried to run a code and it said there's no member name or something like that. So it gave me a hint of where I need to track down where the code isn't working. But I definitely struggled a lot with this one because of like the MK coordinate region. One of them I didn't have the correct spelling on it, and it was hard for me to track it down and find it, but I eventually got there, and it was actually a really fun project. And I just realized I didn't press the slide, but this is a screenshot of what I finished for that one. And finally, section 6, compose the detail view. So in this one, this is where I kind of pulled it all together using the coordinate styling and stuff from the previous slide, and then being able to use that image that I did in the different section and adding it all together to create a more functional like layout, and being able to make some other minor changes like how the foreground style or making sure that it sits on the page right.